So, welcome to another episode of the podcast that is Life After Work. We're four gentlemen, all in our 50s, who have, for one reason or other, finished our primary roles in life, now to have new roles in life. Get together and we talk about stuff, really. We just talk about things that come to mind. And actually, I always say the bits that we talk about before we press record probably are worth gold compared to what we do when we don't. But anyway, here today, I'm Rod Maxwell, by the way. I am a presenter on local radio station, Radio Ulti in Altrincham, funny enough. I'm presenter of the Late Late Lunch Show, by the way, 2 to 4 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if you're listening. And I had brain tumor 5 years ago, actually, just over 5 years ago. Had to retire through a bad memory. That was one of the things that it caused me, and that's why I can't remember who's on this call today. So with me today, we'll go top left to me. It's the storyteller. That's Paul Davies.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's so good to see you all again. And please, listeners, do tune in to Rod Maxwell's show. It's good. 2 to 4 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Late lunch. Great show. Always listening in. Drop the check off later, Rod.
He is always listening. I can see Skiathos lights up when and I can tell he's listening. Good afternoon, Paul. How are you? And bottom left is Ash.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we?
Good afternoon.
Good to be here again. I mean, these weeks are disappearing very, very quickly. And as my daughter keeps reminding me, Christmas is breathing down our neck as well. It's only, sorry, I said the word. Sorry.
Yeah, you did say
Apologies.
the word in October.
And then bottom right is our Phil.
Hi there. Yeah, I think you've just given us the next topic for us. Is it too early to talk about Christmas?
Ooh.
It is, especially as October the 24th is looming, gentlemen.
It's only a
We haven't
few
given
weeks
out
away.
Halloween yet, have we?
No.
Well, for us, it's always we have to get past my mother's birthday before we're allowed to talk about Christmas. That's how it works in our family.
Is it the 24th of December, her birthday?
That's it. Yeah.
That's when our Helen's is, yeah. Right.
Mine's
Well,
the 24th of October, just saying.
21st of October.
24th of October.
Oh, that's my brother's birthday as well, October the 24th.
I'll just put that in the diary, you know. It's this Sunday, actually. Yeah, okay. Right.
It's imminent, isn't it, Paul?
It is imminent.
It's imminent indeed, 24th. Right, so today, I've already forgotten what we said we were going to talk about. And we had that many subjects that we were working on. What was it we were going to talk about?
I think we're basically throwing it out there. We've done so over the last year or so. There has been a lot of depressive subjects in the world, and we've picked up on current topics and those that are on trend, if you like, and it all seems to be a little depressing. So I think today we were going to talk about how people are the good things in life, if you like. It was a mixed bag, wasn't it? It was like how young people are now pushing themselves forward with various projects because there's no obstacles or hurdles to overcome. And for the listeners, the examples we were going on are people who want to make music, cut themselves a record, write a book, become a dancer, do whatever in the arts and media, whatever they want to do, because the internet and the freedom and the software of such internet has made it so easy for everyone to jump aboard that ship. It's absolutely great. I mean, it's all still under the umbrella as indie stuff, isn't it? It's indie music, it's indie authors. But yeah, one aspect is the good use of the internet that's launching youngsters into perhaps a new career. I use the example of your daughter, Rod, who cut a great tune and has released it all by herself and with very little cash. And you know, there's lots of good things that are happening. And as we spiral out of COVID, I actually think that not the pandemic hasn't done us the world of good. I think being insulated within our own home environment with only access to computers has done people the world of good, because you're suddenly not distracted from wanting to achieve perhaps a hobby, a goal. You've got no outside distractions of work or the people, and you can jump straight onto the computer. And like you were saying off air, Rod, some ladies, an author that you know has picked up the unfinished novels of hers during the pandemic and finished them. So I think that's been a great time frame. Obviously, don't get me wrong, people have died. It was a very, very bad time health-wise and mortality-wise. But I think looking on the positive side, it's made people with a bit more get up and go as to following their own dreams. Well, I don't know what you guys think about it.
Yeah, I think you're right, Paul. I think you've identified two key strands there, and it'll give youngsters like yourself more of an opportunity as well, won't it? But the two strands being, one is the COVID thing. I term it in, I put it in terms of the space and time. That's what it's given certain people. But the other element that you were talking about there, just that democratization of through technology of access to. So as you said, the examples, whether it's publishing a book or writing a tune, in the old days you needed, and maybe you do still need some things like studio time, and you need some sort of publishing access, but you don't, it's not as restrictive, it seems to me. You've got far greater opportunity to just produce something of a certain quality off your own back. The classic bedroom studio, people have released hit tunes done on 8-track recorders in their bedrooms, haven't they? I don't think that's mythical.
Well, what's that young girl called?
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
She did it all from the bedroom, didn't she? She's now really, really popular.
Yeah.
Well,
so I think that's what it brought. Sorry, Ash.
She's done the James Bond tune, hasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely true. I think there are far more opportunities to do things with the basic home-driven technology. But it occurs to me that there's still some elements, some barriers are down, but even though you can do that, it maybe is a question of just there's other skills to be brought into play now to make a success. And you might have a comment on this, Paul, that whether it's marketing becomes more crucial, or it maybe marketing is as crucial as it has ever been, because yes, you can produce the thing, but how do you still get it exposed out there to the masses and get mass publicity for these things, given that there's so much out there?
Yeah. Do you know what I'm hoping for? And I'm sorry to jump in, but this is something that's very close to my heart, Phil, actually, the marketing side. For example, I write books, and then it's the marketing step. Now, make no bones about it, if you were to pay for marketing on whether it's a record you've cut or a book you've written or a piece of artwork that you've done, unfortunately, that market is still very expensive to do. So what I'm hoping for, we've come along in steps. We've come along from, you're never going to get a book published unless you go to a publisher. Now, over time, we've come to people being able to self-publish the books and get it out there. What we need now is something that bridges the gap between you having something to sell and not having to go to the massive marketing companies who charge a fortune. Yes, you've got social media like Facebook, Instagram, and all that. And I'm very thankful for people like Rod, local radio stations who plug your stuff. But even now, even on Instagram, you have to pay a premium to somebody to show you how to unlock the algorithms of Instagram, so you get lots of followers and turn them into sales. So I'm hoping there'll be somewhere that makes it easy, because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, apart from posting on, I'm lost. I am lost with how you get more followers, more people directed. They call it sales funneling, don't they, or funneling, where they send you to a website or something like that. I'm lost as to how that happens. And again, people will charge a premium to show you how that's done. So I'm hoping that there'll be an easier way to do it. And I'm sure that easier way is not far off in the future.
See, that's the thing for me. is that actually the dark art now in the creative space is not the production of the good, whether it be a story, whether it be a book, whether it be a poem, a song, or whatever, a piece of artwork. The dark art seems to be actually being able to channel that properly through the internet. You know, it's almost like the internet has certain pathways, and there's so much content out there. You can't just do a broadcast thing. And now the people that used to be the gatekeepers to the studios, to the recording, to the production of the track, have really now become the gatekeepers to navigating the internet, basically. And that's where the money is, I think, at the end of the day, because we think, oh, you just put it up there, it's grand. It's not that at all. It has to get channeled, and it has to get through the cloud of noise, really, you know?
No, exactly. I think publishing houses and A&R departments did two things. One was that the actual production of it, they managed that side of things, and that's what we're saying is maybe bypassed them now. But I think what we're identifying is the other side of what they do, which is the marketing. Then they'll publicize. They've got all the contacts, whether it be with radio stations, to get it put out there. They did that marketing thing, and as you're saying now, we've got around the production blockage and obstacle, but not around the marketing blockage. And it'll be interesting to see where that does go. How is it possible to bypass that? Or
it
do
is.
it
I mean, I subscribe to a magazine called The Idler, and they have independent publishing houses on there as it goes. And the reason they get on and do quite well is that they got a very tech savvy staff who, there's only 3 or 4 of them, so their staffing costs are quite low. But because they know how to use the system, how to use the internet well, they are able to actually, bind the books and this, that, and the other, and sell them on. And I don't really get into that aspect. I just look at some of the books and some of the reviews you see for them. And so it's good to know that in this modern age, because of technology now, smaller, you don't have to be a Penguin. You don't have to be a Random House or anything like that. You can be a smaller publishing house with a niche market, whereby you will always, if you've got the right technicians on board, you can make a really, really good fist of it. You can have really good authors on board that might not get picked up, but they've just got really important things to say, or really good stories and that sort of thing to actually communicate to their readership. So I think tech has been really good in that sense, in the sense it's, as you said, Phil, it's democratized everything. So if you wanted to, there's no reason why you can't, because even if you can't do it yourself, you potentially could go for a smaller independent publishing house, and they might be able to do it and look at it.
It's channel management at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and I'm told by some people in the music industry that there are you often have to pay for airtime. So if you want your track to be played on, a Virgin Radio, for example, then you have to essentially pay for that airtime to a degree. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I picked that up.
That wouldn't surprise me at all, because they, after all, are they not the distributor, the shop window for whatever the product is? And it's still those who control the shop window who can charge for that.
Yes, I have the inside information on this, gentlemen.
Yeah.
There are what you call, so you make a record, you need to get it out to the masses, but you need to get it out quickly and to the right areas. There are a group of people that are called radio pluggers. Now, these radio pluggers are very, very influential in the radio world. Friend of mine, a good friend of mine who's made some records, he used one of these radio pluggers. His fee was thousands, not hundreds, and that did not get my friend the right to be plugged to Radio 2, because they know exactly what Radio 2, Radio 1, it's told him quite bluntly, look, you're in your 50s, you're making this music, you're never going to get on Radio 1. Forget Radio 1 airplay. Doesn't matter if you've never seen, you'll never get on there. Radio 2, I'm not even going to try with Radio 2, because you won't get on there either. You might do, but they'll keep you as a last resort. He went for local radio stations throughout the land, He also plugged. He's got an inroad with Spotify that got him on Spotify's top 10 playlist. But that was a loss of. Now, without his help, my friend who Rod knows, he wouldn't have got anywhere with it. He wouldn't have been anywhere. But that he is the gatekeeper, and those people are the gatekeeper to getting your music within the right place. And it's a lucrative business to be in.
Wow.
They are very similar to the old A&R people, but the radio pluggers, and basically they know everybody there is to know in the industry.
But are we missing because of our age, because we don't get it, like you said before, Paul, and I'm lost with this stuff as well, but where do the TikTok influencers come in on this then? That can they not turn, how do you turn something viral or get even a fraction of the attention on that?
Again,
they're not other means.
Do you know, Phil, I only wish I knew, because I've seen some TikTok stuff that's viral, and I'm talking hundreds of thousands of likes and viewers and things like that. And for want of a better word, the content's crap. And you think, how do they get
exactly
that many people? I would sell my kidney to get half of the amount of people that they've got following me on Twitter at PA Davis _ that's Twitter, or PA Davis author on Facebook.
I think you need to introduce a cute animal or something into your marketing somewhere.
It's bizarre. And you know, it was something, I think Rod said it while was off air. What this has opened up is this internet freedom and the social media. People are making fortunes off doing their own fly on the wall documentaries of an average family at home. And people are tuning in regularly to see, oh, look at that, he's dropped his egg and chips on the floor. And it's just people, what was a niche market for celebrities, they're now doing it from their own mobile phones, and they're raking it in. Now, I know on YouTube, you have to have something to start making money. I think it's something like 4,000 hours of download to start making money on YouTube. Now, 4,000 hours, gentlemen, is a lot of money to start, you know, for people to download your stuff or listen to your stuff. But 4,000. Now, you may remember, I think we've mentioned this before, the little video, oh, Charlie bit my finger. I don't know if you remember it. It was a little kid who was saying that his baby brothers bit the finger. They bought a house on the strength of that video because they got that many downloads on it. And you know what? I'm bearing my heart and soul and putting my books out there. And do you know what? I've lost. My mum and dad have died, so I've lost a couple of sales there. I can't afford to lose stuff like that. I'm selling about 5 a year. What's all that about? I don't understand it. I mean, maybe I should start.
I'll bite your finger, Paul.
Underpants or something. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I know.
I mean, that's the thing. I think Paul, that's the thing, is that there's ways to monetize it. You know, with YouTube and you know, other podcasts like this, what we're doing here as well. Because I mean, do you not remember when with books, if you could get your books plugged by Richard and Judy Book Club or Oprah Winfrey, and that was it. You were made if you got your book on there, didn't you? And then there was this trickle down. Then you got YouTube book clubs as well. And so I think it's worth looking at which are the major influencers there, and then start approaching them. But as you say, where do you begin? I mean, it's a complete mystery to me. I mean, I'm just not au fait with this at all. And
it is all about the influencers. Right. There are many influencers on YouTube for all different genres of you know, whether it's from clothes to food to restaurants.
Well, my daughter's got one for, you know, it was about makeup. So they'll do about which makeup to wear, and eyelashes, and I go, what, really?
And they have suddenly become gods in their own right, gods and goddesses, because people don't buy anything unless I'll see what this influencer says, because they must know, you know. And if I could get, or if anyone could get one influencer to say, I've read a book by P.A. Davis, one of the many that's available on Amazon stores, ladies and gentlemen. I've read a book by P.A. Davis. Her thousands of followers would start following me.
Yeah.
Or some of them. That's how influencers work. Very big thing, influencers.
Yeah.
But to go back to the original point, I think at the very least, what technology has done is it gives a lot of people a practicing ground, and in that, more than that, indeed, a lot of hope. There is the opportunity that you might strike it lucky that the door on one of these things might open. You might hit on some sort of rich vein of attention through these media and make it big. And I think,
but if you look at the other side, well, Phil, if you look at the other side of that telescope, you're looking at the people who are producing it. But isn't it great for the other people who are consuming it? So they if they can find Paul's book, they're going to get an opportunity to read it, or music. You're saying that, Emma's music as well. There's no way you would have read Paul's book 25 years ago, or music 25 years ago from Emma. You wouldn't have been able to do that. So I picked up loads of things like journals and books and articles and things like just from people who were just musing, basically. They've got their sites and things, and even podcasts on Audible. They're doing that as well. I think it's fantastic that that's available now, and we're getting to know the thoughts and the feelings of other people, like the poetry that you have. I think it's great that that's put out there, and and that we get to see that. And there's no way we would have done that 10 years ago.
I'm bearing in mind this podcast, Life After Work, is also available on Amazon Music as a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to tune in there, there's many avenues you can listen to it. But the other things, apart from the creative side, the good things that have come out from the pandemic era, shall we say, things like Zoom. Zoom was a little unheard of company. Now look at it. Did it not go public a few months ago?
Massive, isn't it?
And we wouldn't be speaking to each other had it not be for the power of Zoom. And that's the innovative stuff that I like that's being developed over that period. The fact that this, it's more or less a simple software. It brings us all together. You can book your Zoom meetings. I think it's a great piece of kit, and these are the good things that have come out of that era.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about just 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I mean, if someone gave you said, "Oh, I've got this idea," what we do is we have talking books on, and what you do is someone reads them out to you, and you'll think, "What? What are you on about? What's been a talking book?" But in this case, at the end of the day, you've got a talking book. It's the biggest. It's one of Amazon's biggest sellers, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic. It's really, really good. And
then growing all the time.
I mean, I do. I have one or two books that I listen to in the car. Then, I mean, like 25 years ago, we used to go to Blockbuster. Do you remember Friday nights or whatever? Used to, get 2 tapes, have a look, wander around, and then bugger off back, get a takeaway on the way back. And now it's all Netflix. It's straight away. Blockbuster had a chance to buy Netflix for $500 million or whatever, and they didn't.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing that's has come. I don't know whether it's quite the COVID era, and it's not new in some ways, but bringing it all together. I think the technology, and amongst all the vacuous stuff that's on Facebook, one thing I've found quite interesting and useful recently in the last year or so are Facebook interest groups. So it's that little mechanism within it that you can find quite easily like-minded people or people with similar interests to yourself. And any club you join, it's always got its Facebook page. And I find that it's part of that community thing. And maybe it has been accentuated during the COVID times, that when you sat in your bedroom and your living room, you can't go out, or you're not getting out as much. Those things are still there, and it's a way of connecting with people, and in a very specific way. So, and whether it's me, my trumpet playing, and the bands I'm in, they all have their Facebook groups. Very easy communication between the two. Yeah. And even more so, the triathlon group. I'm part of a coaching, I've signed up with a coaching firm, and all their athletes, I'm not sure I should use that word actually, but all their subscribers are on this group. And it's a fantastic form of support to just feel, oh, what are you doing about that? And anybody who's buying new kit or got new ways of training, or just the problems they're having. And it's I don't know, I say not new, it's been there for quite a while, but it just seems to have been brought more to the fore.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it has been brought more to the thought, and there's a lot of more groups since the pandemic era and now. And yes, I think it's absolutely brilliant. With Facebook and the news feed, it's, I like your post, but listen to what I've got to say about me, and this is my life. When the groups, like you say, you've got all like-minded people that want to help each other, that are going through the same stuff or have been through the stuff that you're going through. So I think the groups are really, really good. Really, a really good step forward in the Facebook world. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I've got this sci-fi book group in that, and they'll tell you about books you've not read, books you've read, but have a look at them again. Did you notice this bit, that bit, and and then you get some people who are thinking of writing short stories as well, and they're doing that, and you get to read some of their stories. Some of them aren't brilliant, some of them are really good, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's like you just said, you've all got a similar interest. And that would have been really hard to do before. 20 years ago, you'd have had to meet in the library, wouldn't you? Or a community hall.
Yeah, exactly. Radio also has got its own group, hasn't it?
Yeah, we got a group. To be honest, I have to admit, I don't use it very much. And what I've learned, though, in the last year is that you definitely have different demographics by the different platforms. So Facebook, definitely more our sort of age group. Instagram, much younger, Twitter, a bit varied. And then you've got others as well. So you almost now look at the channel, whether it be Instagram, etc., and you're thinking about the core demographic there, yeah.
In a way, is this not this thing that we're doing now is not an example of it as well? That I don't know who our listenership is, but I suspect it's going to be people around their 50s. After all, are we not an interest group of our own for people in our position at our age?
I guess we are, yeah.
Hopefully talking about things that resonate with people of our age and interest.
Phil, I'm thinking that maybe 50 years time, there'll be a whole university course on life after work. The people will study these videos and look at us and go,
and we've sorted the marketing, we'll be fine.
Yeah. In 50 years, they'll dig these up from the new technology, because it won't be things like that. They'll uncover life after work and they'll be discussing it, won't they? Little aliens that they are.
I'm not sure we should be storing them on cassette tapes, though. What do you think?
Make sure you have your pencil in like that, so you can bring back the tape.
VHS. I tell you, funny enough, a story about that, because one of our young presenters is only about 17 or thereabouts, and he said on air the other night, he said one of those cassette things or one of those tapey things, and you do realize, that actually I'm going off on a tangent here, but you do realize the pace of change is such that the stuff that we took for granted, and they have no idea at all about that, and so one of those cassette things. Yeah. You sort of think it is a VHS, is it whatever, Betamax, but yeah.
It's just I know about a few weeks ago, I was talking about to the kids, what should we watch on Friday night, film night? And I said, right, okay, Dad, you choose. I said, right, anybody in the mood for a classic? So I said, right, okay, let's go for it. We went for a classic. So I thought, do you know what? You can't beat as a classic like Hitchcock, like
Hong Kong Phooey.
No, Hitchcock, a bird sort of. But the one I was thinking of is this one called 12 Angry Men, and they didn't watch it in the end, but it was black and white.
Yeah, with Henry Ford.
That's it. Brilliant, absolutely stunning. And they honestly, you must have. When I said, "Oh, it's black and white," I don't know what. I might as well have walked in the room, stepped on a turd, and walked over the carpet. And they said, "What, black and white? What's happened? What's wrong with colour?" I said, "It's fine." He said, "Did you know this film's even before they had sound? Do you want to watch Charlie Chaplin?" Well, how does he tell you what he's feeling? I said, there you go. That's what it is. You need to watch how he does it. Charlie Chaplin does things like that. So we watched 12 Angry Men, an hour and a half. They did not move off that sofa. They were captivated. It's all set in one room.
Do you know what it is, Ash? It's because the films of that era, they have no special effects.
Exactly.
Take the onus of the bad acting. They had good actors who could deliver a line, and they were classics. I mean, even going to the likes of, I absolutely love them. This was my dad's classic, if you like, the spaghetti western era. Fist of Dollars, Few Dollars More, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. No special effects, none of that going on.
No.
Just good, tense acting.
And music. The music was Ennio Morricone's music.
And that's what you get. If it all goes wrong in a film today, just blow it up. Oh, put in a few explosions and things like that. It's
Well, I have
It's
to
just
say,
not the same.
my lockdown or COVID or whatever discovery in this last 14 months or more has been Netflix. I've got to admit, you know, and the number of TV series that I've watched there, and I can't believe why I didn't before. It was almost like I was either too snobbish or too loyal to BBC ITV or whatever. But it's quite amazing the quality of the stuff that you get in there.
Yeah, if you have to rely on, I don't know what you think, Rob, but do you not think you have to really massively rely on recommendations, because there is a lot of dross on there as well?
There is.
There is.
But the good thing about Netflix, there were rumors that it was under some pressure from a new sort of streaming company, that Netflix would be no more. That was 18 months ago. You notice over the last 18 months, 12 months, Netflix have upped the game. They put some amazing dramas on, series on. They've really upped the game. And
I think they've just one of their weakness. They were a platform. They were the new Blockbuster, weren't they? 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was. And they've sussed that actually it's not about being a platform anymore. It's the content. It's who controls the content. Exactly. So you've got Disney Plus, who've got, is it Disney Plus or Disney? And because they own a load of the, what's the stuff they own that's recently?
Star Wars, Marvel,
that's
all of that.
So stuff that they bought disappeared off Netflix. You've got who owns the Tom and Jerry cartoons these days?
Oh, is it Warner Brothers?
Is it, and who owns it? Is it Sony now? Anyway, that's the point. So it's become the battleground has become who's got the rights to all the content. So I don't know where you won't see Bond films on there, because they've been all joined up again under one of these things have all merged again, because they used to be Sony and EMI got bought by somebody else, and that's been the battleground. And what Netflix have done, less through purchase, but they've actually started producing their own stuff, haven't they?
Yes.
And as you say, there's some great quality stuff on there that they've actually commissioned, so that they've got stuff to put on their platform and not be at the mercy of people who can take it away from them.
Yeah, so at the moment I've just started watching Succession, which I think is loosely based on the Murdoch Empire. It seems to be. There's something else. My problem is I can't remember. Right, I'm good I'm glued when I block book and I just go and watch them for a couple of days.
I hope we're going to get paid by Netflix for some of this. The one thing I'm watching on there at the moment is Money Heist, which is
how great is Money Heist?
Yeah, I know I'm late to the party on that one, but
is that a film?
It's a series, but the new series has just come out. So I think there's 3 series, and then there's the 4th one that came out this year. It's Spanish, isn't it? But it's dubbed Spanish.
Yeah,
but great. Money Heist is brilliant.
No, it's not even dubbed. It's subtitled, isn't it? You can.
Oh well, you get it dubbed over here. So
right, okay.
Yeah, so they're speaking American as you would. But love Money Heist. Another great series that I watched, Made. I've gone on about it on Facebook, but if anybody wants to understand the emotional abuse of domestic violence, Made is the one to watch.
Is it a really tough watch though?
It's not really a tough watch. It's a very thought-provoking watch. And the bonus in amongst all that, Andy McDowell, best known for 4 Weddings and a Funeral, being the love interest.
Oh yeah.
He played this skitsy mother of the abused girl, and she is amazing in it. She's just amazing.
Funny, I saw a little clip of it, and what I liked about it was Andy McDowell. You almost stereotype her as a certain type, and it's a bit soft and a bit. And this was a totally different Andy McDowell. It was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen Squid Game?
I've just started watching. I'm on series.
My son's watching
3.
that.
Yeah, episode 3, episode 4. I'm on. I've just
recommended.
Do you know what, chaps?
No.
I started watching it, and I halfway through I stopped. I thought, this is really rubbish acting. But a friend of mine said, look, you have to watch it. It's a bit of a slow burner. Watch it up until and past episode 3. So I did, and it's getting a bit more of a compelling watch now. So if you are going to watch it, work your way past episode 1 to get the little background story, and then if you like it, continue watching it. But I'm getting into it now, so I'm on. I think it's episode 5. I'm on now. So yeah, it's quite.
It'd be coming back to what we were talking about a little bit before. Is there's a classic example. We used to only be able to watch what we had on BBC 1, 2, ITV, and then Channel 4 or whatever. It was very controlled environment. And now, I mean, okay, the challenge is not the control. The challenge is actually knowing what to watch. There's just so much, isn't there? But it's quite nice in that it's becoming more democratic, if you like. It's becoming more utopian or more open, at least, actually.
But you've hit the nail on the head, though, there, Rod. It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. The democratization has brought the fragmentation with it. So it's trying to bring something back that we can all use to connect together. And hopefully we've still got those with whatever's popular at the time. Yeah. But it's far more fluid, isn't it?
I mean, I think that's why I was saying before, we have to, well, I personally do rely on a lot of recommendations. It's almost like having a curated list of things. So, I'll tell you, what books I'm reading, what book Paul's reading, and he'll tell us, what films you've just seen. Have you seen that? And then you just suddenly, that's why I'm just writing these down. And suddenly you'll get a list of things, because I want to miss out the stage of watching an episode and think, oh my God, what was a crap? Why did I watch that for? And then, if someone says, right, I thought that was it, you might not agree, but you're onto a good starter then, aren't you, at least?
Yeah, and another nice recommendation, which I don't know if it's just come to Netflix over here in Greece or if it's come to Netflix in general, because I don't remember watching it on Netflix. But if you want a bit of a soppy story, but a nice story, it's called The Notebook. That's well worth a watch. The Notebook, well worth a watch.
Yeah, I did. I watched that. I was dragged kicking and screaming to watch that. Heidi said, "No, just watch it, and it was really good. Did you cry?
I've got to admit, I've seen it 3 times and cried every time. I'm not too embarrassed to say I cried. It's a very, very sad film.
I actually had a tear in my eye, which wasn't due to any air conditioning. It was actually.
Is that an on Netflix one?
It's on Netflix now. Yeah, I have the app.
It's a film.
It sends me new arrivals and what's coming in the future. Yeah, it's a good app actually. It's a good app.
Have you guys seen The Mayor of Easttown with Kate Winslet?
No.
Absolutely watch that. That is she is amazing. She got an award. I don't know what our TV awards or whatever they're called. She got an award for that. But I was watching before that. It's very, very. I don't know what platform it's on. I watched it. I think it was might have been Sky or something. So just Google Mayor of Easttown. That's
Mayor of Easttown. I got to look at that too. Has anybody here, just while we're on this, have any of you watched the latest Bond?
Yeah, I've seen that.
No, I've not seen it.
Are you going to?
I doubt it. To be honest with you, I've been told the ending.
Yeah, but that's not the point with a Bond film, is it? It's the style with which it's done, and it's.
What did you think of it?
Personally speaking, I actually thought that it was a more mature Bond, if you like, in that it was much more about the character and there was more of a story about the person, and it wasn't all about the gimmicks, and it wasn't so if you compared it to the Roger, I mean, I think generally Bonds have been better, they've been less shallow than the Roger Moore type periods, etc. And they've been a lot more about the character and the personality, and it's slightly more believable. And this one I thought was one of the more believable ones in terms of.
What do you think of the villain? The villain was very, very, very bland. I just couldn't engage with it.
I can't remember.
Exactly. That says it all. It
took him forever to remember Roger Moore.
I mean, he's not memorable. That's why, Rod. The point I'm making is the fact that I didn't think he was. He's a good actor because he was in that Queen film.
He was Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant the Queen.
Have you seen it, Phil?
No, not yet, but I will do.
Yeah, no spoiler alert.
No, definitely have a
look.
But
it was. I have to say, I think as your man's last one. You know, I thought that he went out, and I think what he's done is he's taken that franchise, just called that awful term, but he's really progressed that brand, that character. You know, he's taken it and he's taken it away from being all about, you know, swimming shorts and chatting up girls to being a much more believable and deeper personal story, I think, anyway, you know.
Yeah.
Done a good job. So what's his name?
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. Yeah, I thought done a smashing job, really. You know.
And I tell you what, the film that's coming up in the cinema that you might want to watch is June. That's coming out soon.
Mm.
That's the science fiction. You know, you may well have heard of the book. You know, Herbert's book, June. It's a trilogy. So I think this is the first one of the lot.
Do you know the film's actually been out many years ago, and it had Sting from the Police in it.
Yeah, that's the original, but they're doing it again.
Yeah, that was in flipping.
So they're doing Villeneuve, I think it is.
That was in the 80s.
Yeah. What did you think of that? Did you watch it?
I did. I thought it was very strange. I thought the sandworms that they used to control the sandworms, and you control the thing.
Yeah.
All that business.
Is that not a bit Mad Max-ish?
It was very Mad Max-ish. It really was that kind of dystopian era.
Yeah.
And I watched it merely because I was.
June itself is basically, it's a book about colonialism, and whereby a planet has got this resource called melange, which is like they call it the geriatric spice. It lets you, you know, go through life without aging. So obviously people want it. And so it talks about the planet, how it loses its identity very quickly, and how it becomes part of a stepping stone for empire building. And so it has a lot of parallels with lots of empires in this that we've had, haven't we? So it's very, very good, very interesting to watch. So I'll be interested to see how they actually translate it. And it's meant to be a spectacle. So you watch on the cinema, you'll smack you on the face with a kipper. That's what you want.
Right, a Monty Python doing it.
Yeah.
You know, guys, I'm thinking we should do an offshoot of this. Make it the
turn into an arts
review. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, for sure, definitely. We could do a book, a film, and what else? Music.
Yeah.
The music, and I would almost argue the arts. You know, in more the arts review. We could sit here, drinking port and all having nice. Well, we almost have got goodies and
selling me, Rod. You are absolutely selling me. I'll make it happen, Rod.
It could be the offshoot. It'll be.
I will go out and buy my black roll neck and my corduroy jacket as we speak.
I'll buy
Philip,
it.
Philip, I think you're just right. Well, look, that was probably a more meandering little chat, but nonetheless, I enjoyed it anyway.
Better than doing all the crises of today, isn't it?
Yeah.
And bring a bit more of a smile.
And not to, you know, put them to the side, but it's just sometimes, you know what, you don't want to talk about it, do you really?
Just for one day.
Well, gentlemen, lovely to see you once again, and we'll this time next week, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Take care. Have a great week, guys.
Life after work. Bye.
See you guys.
See you now.